All right, let's jump right in. Imagine spending $2 billion and more than a decade on a single project, only for it to fail. And not just fail, but fail 90% of the time. Well, that's not some hypothetical scenario. That's the reality of modern drug discovery. But what if AI could completely flip that number on its head? That's what we're digging into today. We're breaking down a fascinating new scientific paper about a model that promises to predict a drug's success with, well, almost perfect accuracy, right from the very beginning.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to unpack the massive challenge here, why drug discovery is such a high-stakes gamble to begin with. Then we'll get to the good stuff, the breakthrough prediction at the core of this research. After that, we'll pop the hood on the AI itself, see how it works, and then put it in the ring, head-to-head with its competitors. And to wrap it all up, we'll connect the dots from the lab to the boardroom. You know, what this actually means for business strategy and what the next steps for leaders are. All right, so first things first. Before we can really appreciate the solution, we've got to understand the scale of the problem. Let's dive into the dilemma at the heart of finding new medicines. You know, calling drug discovery challenging is, well, it's a huge understatement. The traditional path to getting a new medicine on the shelf is a brutal marathon. Seriously, we're talking an average of 10 to 15 years and over $2.6 billion for just one successful drug. That's not just a scientific problem, it's an economic gauntlet that, frankly, crushes innovation. So when you boil it all down, what are we looking at? The process is incredibly slow, it's astronomically expensive, and the failure rate is just staggering. And you have to ask, what's the root cause of all this? It's pretty simple, actually. It's our fundamental inability to predict right at the start if a drug candidate is even going to work. For decades, we've basically been flying blind, and that's exactly why the failures just keep piling up.
Okay, so that's the grim reality. But what if we could replace all that guesswork with something close to certainty? Well, that's exactly what this new AI model is promising to do. And believe me, it could be a total game changer. Yeah, look at that number, 98.6%. This is the number that's making everyone in the field sit up and pay attention. A score this close to perfect, well, you just can't ignore it.
And let's be clear, that 98.6% isn't just some vanity metric. That number represents the model's accuracy in predicting the single most important thing. Will a drug actually connect with its intended biological target? Getting that right is everything. So this isn't just a small improvement. It's a potential giant leap forward that could help us avoid countless dead-end research projects before we even spend a dime on them. So the big question is, how on earth does it get to that incredible number? Let's go inside the AI's brain and see how this thing actually works.
Okay, so the engine behind all this is called the CA-HACO-LF model. And yeah, I know, it is a mouthful. Context-aware, hybrid ant colony optimized logistic forest. But don't get bogged down by the name. The easiest way to think about it is like a super smart AI team. You've got several different, powerful algorithms all working together, and the result is a prediction that's way more accurate than any one of them could make on its own.
Its power really comes from a three-step process. First, it's context-aware, which means it's not just looking at the drug in a vacuum, it considers things like patient data. Second, and this part is really cool, it uses something called hybrid ant colony optimization. It's an algorithm inspired by how ants find the fastest path to food. It sifts through massive amounts of data to find the most important path to an answer. And then finally, the logistic forest acts as the judge, making the final, super accurate call.
Okay, so a claim like 98.6% accuracy? That's a bold claim. You can't just throw that number out there without backing it up. So how does this new kid on the block actually stack up against the AI models that are already out there, being used in the industry today? Let's see the showdown.
And to prove its worth, the researchers didn't pull any punches. They put their model in the ring with some of the industry's heavyweights. We're talking established, powerful models like Google's BERT, an AI that's used for, well, almost everything these days. This was a real test of strength, a proper title fight. And when you look at the results for pure accuracy, well, they're pretty stark. The CA-HACO-LF model, sitting up there at 98.6%, is the clear winner. I mean, even the highly respected BERT model can't quite keep up. And the gap between it and other models like XGBoost, it's not even close.
It's pretty much the same story when we look at precision. Now, precision is all about making sure that when the model says, yes, this is a match, it's actually right. You want to avoid those costly false positives. And again, you can see the CA-HACO-LF model is leading the pack. It's just better at getting it right.
So these are some seriously impressive numbers for a scientific paper. But let's be real. What does this actually mean in the boardroom? How do we translate this technical win into actual business value, into a real strategic advantage? What we're looking at here is a fundamental shift in how we think about drug discovery. We're talking about moving from the old way, slow, expensive, manual trial and error, to a completely new model, a model that's intelligent, predictive, and data-driven from the start. This is about dramatically cutting risk and massively speeding up the timeline.
And for leaders in the life sciences, the impact is direct and powerful. What does this mean for you? It means faster R&D pipelines. It means making much smarter, de-risked investments in clinical trials. It means unlocking the true potential of precision medicine. And it even opens up new opportunities for revenue, like figuring out new uses for drugs that are already on the market.
Okay, so this brings us to the most critical part of the conversation. Knowing all this, what should leaders be doing right now to get ready for this shift? How do you secure your future and get that competitive edge?
Let me be really clear about this. This research isn't just some interesting academic exercise. When models this powerful start to emerge, it's a massive signal to the entire industry. Having an AI-driven R&D strategy is no longer a nice-to-have. It's not something you can put on the roadmap for someday. It's quickly becoming absolutely essential for survival and success.
So what are the action items? 3 things. First, take a hard look at your computational resources. These AI models need a lot of processing power. Second, start planning for strategic integration. How will you actually plug these predictive models into your existing R&D pipelines? And third, and this might be the most crucial piece, you have to foster the right talent. You need teams with expertise in both life sciences and data science to bridge that gap between the lab and the algorithm. And all of this really leaves us with one final critical question that you need to be asking inside your own organization. With technology moving this fast, you really have to look in the mirror and ask, is our R&D strategy built for the past, or is it truly ready for the AI-driven future?